And we are back now, ready to go into the second map of the best of 3 today. Second round in the upper bracket of EPIC38, powered by Intel. My name is Winterio, and I am joined again back with Rook. How are you feeling after the first map? The 14-12 victory to Control Esports. The first map Insight Gaming have actually lost. It was a banger to cast, no?
It was indeed. It's a little bit bad for my heart, unfortunately. I really thought, I was predicting earlier Control Esports. They had it in them to take it down Insight, and they did it here. Fantastic performance. A little bit shaky at the end. We will not deny that one, but that's because the quality of opponent they're coming up against in Insight is just so darn high. Really impressed with both performances, and especially I want to highlight Ego, who had a really stand-up performance on that jet, especially in the latter halves, but a lot of players who really performed well on that map. And going into Fracture, I'm really interested to see how that's going to change.
Yeah, and well, Fracture is Control's map pick, and well, it was a bit of an upset, especially Insight 1 losing and 2 on their map pick, and in the fashion that they did. Like you said, Ego, one of the players that kept them in the grounds running just to make it to the OT, but well, in those 2 rounds of overtime, it was Control that came on top. But Fracture is what I'm interested in now. I want to see whether we have players like Anguist going back onto that Killjoy, or whether they're going for a Cypher possibly for Fracture, since it is kind of interchangeable. You have so much ability with the Killjoy lockdown, but then the Cypher util being so well worldwide in the sense of you can put a trip down and you can walk to the absolutely other end of the map and it'll still be active. And it's that kind of freedom that you don't get while playing the Killjoy on this map, and especially since how big of a map it is, it can prove quite difficult.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have that Cypher for those exact reasons, and I also just think Cybercage is such a fantastic tool. A lot of people really sleep on it, and I think especially on this map, on the defense, like it just gives you so much information on how much people are coming, and it really can make the big difference here. I'm looking forward as well to maybe seeing something like the Neon. We've seen a couple of cheeky picks. We mentioned the Neon before. We got the Yoru instead earlier yesterday. But I would love to see that here. I think it's great on this map, the rotatability, and obviously those concussions can be particularly effective. But we're likely to see a lot of focus towards that breach, aren't we?
Yes, I would love... Do you know what? My line that I'm expecting them to run, possibly that Rose or the Jet, whether they're more comfortable, and we have, well, seen Ego on the Jet, played absolutely amazing, some lovely Bladestorm kills, but possibly that breach like you were talking about, getting that Jet or Raze. Since the nerfs to her Boombot, I'm not too sure how it's going to play into it, because a lot of people have had to find new Boombot lineups, and then the amount of space that you're going to get isn't very fruitful sometimes. But let's see if we do get that Raze or if we're going to get a Jet for the duelist.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see as we obviously get on into that game. And, well, we're seeing the Raze hovered, the Astra locked in for Stokesy. I'm absolutely popping for that one. Going to be, as you say, both Ego looking in that Jet. Makes a lot of sense, especially with how they're performing on the previous map. It's interesting to see the kind of variations between these guys' team comp. Obviously, the Sky for Lishi, absolutely 100% here for that. Backing up with Jaff on that breach means they have a lot of flashes, a lot of ways to engage. Whereas you look towards the other side, and they're bringing in the Chamber. Yeah,
this is definitely... When we're talking about the Astra, you tend to see just the smoke is kind of replaceable. You can get the Omen, you can get the Breach, the Brim, and the Astra. But I want to take attention, like you said, the Chamber, but also the Sky. You don't tend to have Sky that often on this map. More opting for more of a reveal initiator if you are going to run it similar to like the Fade. Not really the Sova, but the Fade and Breach do tend to have good synergy with your Jet, but I'm sure literally has something in plan, something in play in the books to support his duelist Ego.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see exactly what kind of strats and whether they're going to play heavily around Ego. I think it wouldn't be a bad shout with how much of a hot performance they've been on. But we're going to see that Cypher locked in as well. I think it's a very interesting comp from Control as well, because obviously they're going to likely have, I assume that Viper's getting locked in for Sid, have double controller, double Sentinel as well, which makes it for a very interesting position when we normally associate this map really heavily with initiators like Breach.
They have no initiator.
That's going to be problematic.
Yeah, I've just noticed. I've just noticed it. I was like, oh yeah, they have double Sentinel, double smokes. Yeah, they have, but they also have a duelist. So it's not as if they've given up the duelist aspect of this. They've given up the info. Well, it's going to be quite tough when they don't have any flashes. So if we can get possibly Ego on Insight setup with an AWP towards any of these extremities of the map, there's not much there to get them off those angles, because there's no sort of initiation, no sort of pushback, maybe sort of a Viper wall, that's about it, and it can prove detrimental to them now since, well, it's a new comp. I'm just going to have trust and faith in the side of Control Esports since we have seen them extremely well on 2 other maps previously, especially against Insight. I'm just going to have I'm trusting that they have something like a play in mind, and they've figured out the kinks of not having an initiator ready for them.
I think the worry for me is that they don't have a lot of ways to clear out some of these really difficult positions. Basically, the only 2 ways they do are Boombot, which has been nerfed, and also the paint shells. That's basically it. So they're heavily relying on Marky to kind of play, not an initiator, but a space-clearing style. And obviously, I think what Marky is particularly good at generally is creating space by satcheling forward and using satchels effectively. I don't really look at him for his Boombot lineups and his usage of the paint grenade. So I think this is interesting from them. I'm unsure about how it's going to go. I'm a little apprehensive about it as well, especially when you've got so many flashes, so many ways to deal with. Look at the composition. You've got double controller, double sentinel, which is great until you get flashed 3 times in a row and you can't do anything.
And especially now they're starting on this defense. It's a bit of a tech pause, so hopefully we'll get it done, sorted. But just talking about what we're expecting from them, they're starting on the defense here. If they can get possibly 8 rounds maybe, and I feel like it has to be an 8-4 to make it believable that we're going to see a good attack and come from, like you said, there's no initiator on the sides. And like you said, Marky is going to be very heavily on his shoulders. You're entering as a duelist with no initiation, and you're going to be self-serving majority of your util, like that Ray's paint shells, like you said, and along with the Boombot. And again, I'm having faith that they have dry run, has scrimmed without this initiator, have ironed out any sort of misplay that they can have without that initiator. But going into the defense first for them, I think it will be definitely favoring them.
Yeah, I think considering it's their map pick, I'd like to have faith in them, but as I said,
yeah, it's their map pick. It's their map pick. They have to have something planned, right? Right, guys. You can't come into a map pick against one of the favorites of a tournament and go no initiate with no backup, right?
Bit suspect if they are doing that, but presumably they do. Now, looking towards that other side, I mean, we were talking about the Astra before. I absolutely love this, and I think it's going to be really effective with things like the Killjoy on this post-plant kind of situation. Being able to lock that down, lock players in, and really make that nanoswarm effective, and also just buy you more and more time. Not as many lineups as potentially they had before with Sova and with everything else with the Viper, but still going to be able to really play towards that, and I think that's something that Insight can do quite well. So I actually like the fact that they're bringing out this composition that is a little bit more normal. Obviously, it has an extra flash to what we're used to, but it's at least, you know...
It's a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a little bit more standard.
Expected. Yeah, we have at least one of every agent.
Yeah.
That's why we're at least looking for the side of Insight. But I believe Litchi is quite comfortable on that Sky anyway, possibly opting for more of a comfort pick and working it around, well, players' favorite operators, along with the ones that they're going to have most effect on. Like Sky, you can get that dog in any way you're going to get the information about clothes, similar to you would with a Fade dog. Only issue is well, Sky only has one.
Yeah, I do think that is going to be very helpful for kind of dealing with so much smoke and so much Sentinel. But I still don't know if it will be enough. I think those flashes are going to be the real deal breaker in taking space. Obviously, there's not a mid, like we've really highlighted in the 2 games we've had from these teams before. So I think it's going to be interesting how they focus their pressure. I think that's a big thing for me about this map, is I always find it really funky, because a lot of the games that I've been kind of playing, like, in my own ranked games, I'm kind of looking...
Your elo is very different to the guys up here.
Okay.
These guys
I know how to focus. Okay, but I know how to focus on main, and it's something that I try to focus on, and it's a good linchpin for a lot of teams. Now, I don't know if Control have been playing this, but especially with the composition they've got, it kind of leans into the fact that they don't have to deal with the mid. They can just deal with the sites. The problem is you can get cut off, and that can be a big, big problem.
The one thing that I am looking forward to seeing, obviously we have the adaptation in the Sky for Insight, but like we said, there's no sort of initiation. But if they can get onto site for the side of Control, they have so much ability to hold that site once they get it. They are looking at it as a very defensive team, so if you're thinking about it, once you're on the attack, as soon as you get onto that site, get that bomb down, you turn into a defensive, well, side. You're defending that bomb site from, well, the now attacking defenders, since they're trying to retake, and especially since you have stuff like the Molly from JKG on that Brimstone, the Snake Bites from Sid on the Viper, but also Marky with the paint shells. This can prove quite dividend for the side of Insight Gaming when they're going to go for those retakes on the next half. But It is. It's just getting onto the site is going to be the issue for them.
Okay, so there might be something about this composition which is a little strange, and it explains why. Kind of surprised about what's going on here. There was something said that they may have accidentally locked in the wrong agent while rummaging around for this headphone cable. So all that double controller or the double Sentinel might be a bit of a problem.
Okay, so it was Sid that didn't lock in the agent. It was left open. So maybe we're going to be seeing Sid on the initiation.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, because I've been trying to theorycraft any sort of...
Yeah, especially in the offense, it kind of falls apart.
Yeah.
Like, you can look at defense and go, sort of it could work, but when you get to that offense, it's just going to not work. So they are going to get a restart. They've agreed to do it. Shout out to Insight for being really great sportsmen because, you know, they could absolutely go, no, you messed up. But absolutely brilliant, those guys. And I think it also shows that they're confident. They feel like, even though they lost that map, Insight coming in here, they think they're the better team. I'm not going to say no because they just lost the last map, but I think in general they are widely considered the better team. So I think they kind of look at this and going, we can still get this. And I love that confidence from them, and I think they're really going to need it here to push it in this map. I do like the composition, though. I'm a big fan of extra flashes because it means you can kind of make those individual plays, and I think for this team, that's exactly what you want to be doing.
Yeah, I'm going to assume Insight Gaming, that comp's going to be staying the same, possibly with Sid changing to something else, maybe that initiation for the side of control. But like you said, double flashes, it's going to be really interesting to see. Just waiting for the last player to get out of that old lobby into the new, and hopefully you're going to go back into the agent select and get the right agents this time. And well, what are you expecting Sid to go for? If it is Sid, that's the one that's going to be changing.
Has to be Breach, right? Like Breach is the agent. I think that's the easy cop-out answer. But oh no, so it was MJT. MJT. Okay, so that's not the chamber. Okay, thank God. I did not like the chamber. That was the thing I liked the least.
I know. I didn't mind the chamber.
I'm a chamber hater, so.
I used to play chamber, so.
So you were carried.
Oh, what? Oh my gosh.
You came at me for my elo?
Hey, I got more elo than you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You absolutely do.
But no, it's quite nice to see the fact that the chamber could have been useful, getting the Tour de Force up online, having, especially on the defense, it's just getting the space on attack. I said it was going to be hard for the Killjoy, especially with the range that issue. But if you had the chamber, it's even more of an issue and more relevant. But definitely a much nicer comp now for Control Esports. You have your Sentinel, you have your Smokes, you have an Initiate, and you have a Duelist. That's all you can ask for from the side of Control, especially after the comp we just saw.
Yeah, I mean, all that theory crafting about how this double smokes is now out the window. Thank God, MJT's playing the meta agent on this map. And I think now this is looking like a really interesting fracture. They've likely got a lot of kind of options available to them. And I mean, this just changes everything on its head. Love, again, still that Stokesy is playing this. Probably one of the best Astra players here. Sorry, probably the best Astra player here, in my opinion. Really great on this, and I'm absolutely excited to see that. Aggression from Murky doesn't go as they want. How many times have we said that? That's a question.
And how many times have we seen Insight Gaming get a kill through a smoke? There we go. 2 players down for the count now, and the pistol round. One of the first pistol rounds Insight Gaming might be able to lock in since Control won both on the previous match. So let's see if they can keep their win streak in this retake and keep the pistol wins coming for the side of Control Esports.
See if they can indeed. JKG being that first player to step up on the retake. Got a little bit of backup from MJT as well. The letter players, hoping they're not the lesser players here, as Ego continues to be a problem in the backline and, well, gets a 4K to kick off the round. And this is exactly what we wanted to see from Ego. Continuing from the last map, does not stop and picks up exactly where they left off.
Yeah, absolutely. And exactly where we left off was getting a 4K. Well, a few through smokes and a few lovely headshots as well connecting. And, well, for the side of Control Esports, I like that aggression there, but, well, it's not really much you can do if you're getting shot through smokes, especially after Marky falls to the hand of Ego right at the start. Daki just trying to get away and position well, sussed out by Ego there.
Yeah, I mean, that was just really great execute from Insight here. And, I mean, focusing on the earlier parts of these rounds, I think you're going to see Insight have a lot of pressure on this map, especially with the way they've kind of set up their composition with these double flashes. They should be the ones to really make the moves, and I think that's going to be a highlight and then kind of call back again to the previous maps that we've had. So, waiting in the wings. Can they catch someone if they peek on through this door? I mean, they're holding the angle as a duo, but that dog's going to come on out. Will that prompt any aggression? No, they're playing patient.
the information there now for the players on that bottom side. Angwit's dropping down from Dish. Is he aware of Daki?
Oh, they haven't checked.
They haven't dogged it out. They haven't checked. They haven't cleared this angle, possibly causing pivotal for them. But Marky already going through that door, getting two for himself with the classic now. And now it's getting closer. A ghost picked up, upgraded slightly, but Daki jumping down from heaven. Jaff gets the trade. Marky is there. And it's a 1v2. Can he ace to clutch out this round, get them further ahead? And through the smoke, it's a 1v1. The paint shots is back up. He has a sheriff in hand, going for the reload now. Shot through the smoke. 30 seconds left on the clock. Spike in hand for Stokesy on the side of Insight Gaming. He's just going to be rotating off.
Oh my lord, you know, I was ragging on Marky in the previous round, but steps up to the plate and, oh my god, completely destroys Insight. Even if they don't pick up this round, this is a fantastic position for them to be in to kick things off. Marky, I think, playing very sensibly, making sure that that isn't going to be on site. Hopefully going to dip in for a second, pick up at least a Spectre here, be able to get that upgrade, does not get the rifle.
Available.
The Guardian, that's really good, especially with the way Marky clicks those heads.
But he needs to expect this early aggression. There you go. He is. Crosshair is into place. One shot connected is one shot to the body is 65 damage from the Guardian. He just needs to connect this one shot, but he's already gone all the way back to side, taking refuge behind the bomb, and he's not looking. Marky on the bomb, going for half. Beats around the corner, he gets the shot, and that's an ace. And the ace for Marky in the second round, clutching out with Classic, starting the round with a Classic Engineer with a Vandal in hand, donated around from Insight Gaming.
Marky playing it like it's gun game, honestly.
Absolutely.
And really impressive.
He's gone from the Classic, got 2 kills to the Classic, great. Upgrades to the Ghost, nice. Upgrades to the Sheriff, okay. Stokesy goes to the other side, got a Guardian, now he's got a Vandal.
Yeah, and that is going to mean that their economy is absolutely laughing right now. You can look towards what Insight Gaming have, and they're going to be able to buy up 2 of those rifles, but there's not going to be much else. I'm surprised they're even doing this. If I were them, maybe I would look towards buying up a little bit, maybe getting some of those Spectres, but because they have a lot of kills on these players, they're able to get that economy rolling a little bit. They're going to be able to buy up next round.
And they already had that Vandal, donated by the players of Insight Gaming to Marky, so they only really had to buy it for maybe some shields and util for the side of Marky there, but, well, we wanted them to hit the ground running. Insight did that in the first round. Ego showing us, his skills, but, Marky was like, do you know what? If you're going to do that to me in the first round, watch what I'm going to do to you on the second. Very much back and forth from this duelist.
And we might see back and forth again, as now there are going to be 3, including the knives, rifles on the side of Insight, and with Ego, on the knives. I think this is definitely going to be pretty darn terrifying for Control Esports. If Marky starts to get going, I mean, that guy just does not stop.
No, and definitely you can see the confidence brewing for Control Esports now. Sid is going to be taking the brunt of this push when the split possibly comes through towards the A site. Literally there, ready and waiting for any of his players wanting to do anything. The stun ready to come through.
Flash goes in. They use that as a chance to move forward, but Sid was waiting in the wings. Ego goes up high, but is concussed. They don't know where he's going to drop on down from. And you see, again, the aggression, but completely denied. Marky, who was not able to have that kind of... Ego was not able to have that kind of impact. And instead, they are picked apart. And that was such a great hold from Control.
Such a great hold. And, it's the aggression that you're taking from some of these players towards B site. You have a lot of space cleared up, allowing for those rotates to come through. You saw there's 4 people on the site. You had Sid underneath just playing cat and mouse with anyone trying to push in with the mollies. Yeah, you're not going to come and push me. I'm just going to hide behind the, non-wall bangable box of sight. I am stuck. I am safe. And then you have his teammates then coming in, helping pick off these players when, the backs are turned.
Yeah, really well played, again, by the fact that Control was sensible and positioned on site. This is actually what we were expecting to maybe see from their composition before they had the breach, but they still rely on that because they still have double controller here that can be very impactful. Marky gone. Jaff looking to really step up to the plate. Didn't have as impactful a previous map as we saw when they were on Pearl, but this guy can absolutely frag and really can lead this team forward. So I'm looking for a lot from the initiator players here.
Yeah, and talking about initiative players, Angus is going to be caught with his trousers down there with MJT coming from underneath the map. Stokesy away. MJT now regaining control with Daki partnered up. And look, they have to clear this. They have to dedicate 3 men to clearing this under to make sure they're not going to get stabbed in the back again. So they're doing their due diligence, which is nice to see. We've seen too many rounds go either way because of corners and, well, areas not being checked properly. But 4v4, it's really hard for attackers to, well, I'm sorry, not attackers, defenders to come back from a man disadvantage on this map. It's one of the hardest maps, in my opinion, to do this and play from defense with a man down. Is why we see a lot of control going towards A main normally at the first place. But Execute's coming in. Dakik fully stunned, kills Stokesy there.
Oh, even almost goes for the third. Brilliantly done, and buys a lot of time for their team. 3 versus 2 now. The spike goes down, just barely not able to stop it with that fault line there. MJT going to push up on their own anyway, but was not expecting Lishi to beat in the wings. However, they now know exactly where they are. They're going to be able to really pin Jaff into this corner, but they know that Jaff's there. The spray is, but Sid still manages to take them down. Lichi, they should know this position. They should be ready for it. The spray is big, though, and that's a round for Insight Gaming.
And the lineup from the 2 replaying Smokes players, and that is it. That's the round. Well, in the way of Insight Gaming, they've tipped the scales. They had a little bit of a lesser buy going into that. They had all the information from the side of Control. They knew where that player was. The double swing coming out as well, and just, well, it was a double lineup, not a double swing.
It's unfortunate to see, but Control completely punished for it. Insight Gaming, I mean, they've got fraggers in every role. That's the thing you've always got to keep in mind. Lichi has really stepped up in a couple of rounds in the previous map, and in this one, you should no doubt see the same.
But it is going to be this similar sort of thing that we're going for the side of Insight Gaming on their attack. They tend to have Anguis and one other towards this drop side. Sometimes it's Stokesy, sometimes it's your Sky player. But then the other 3 tend to go for a little bit of exploring towards the south of the map, whether that's staying in spawn waiting for a push. But Sid is definitely not going to wait for anything and taking this round into his own hands and taking that Sentinel, taking Anguish, one of the heavy hitters we've seen before, off the board.
Yeah, being able to deny them is absolutely fantastic. Look at these tripwires as well. That's going to really give a lot of information over to players like JKG when this push comes. But the tripwire was triggered. But Daki will still take down one. Ego a little too far forward. And as a result, that tippy-toeing will lead their head being taken clean off. Insight already 2 players down. Sure, they've got a player on site, and Jav can go for that spike plant. But you can see a lot coming towards them. That nade and that shot from Daki is more than enough to deny. And I think now Insight are looking at this. They've got to get aggressive, and Lichi does that.
Behind.
But Sid is ready for that backstab. So free. Stokesy's position completely known. That's going to be dead in just a second, taken out. And look at that rocket. I think that was a little bit of showboating from Marky, but it still gets the job done.
The earlier you use your ultimate, the easier and quicker you can get it back further on. But talking about ultimates, some are quite pretty stacked on the side of Insight Gaming. You have that Breach, Rolling Thunder, along with that Killjoy Lockdown, both of which are very good for executing towards B or coming out of a fast explode out of drop, whether that's with both or with one or the other. But the side of Control Esports, with that showstopper gone, it's not really much coming online in this round, maybe in the next couple of rounds for the Brim and the Breach, but Cypher and Viper tend to be a little bit more situational ultimates that you can use. Yeah,
I mean, that's certainly true. I think when it comes to that ultimate economy, I mean, it's definitely a favor right now, but in general, that power is going to be definitely a problem for Control Esports. They might feel the brunt of it here. It looks like they're not going to invest it because only these pistols right now. Insight just feeling like, well, it's worth fighting for it, but it's not worth investing anything else beyond that. Now, Control looking on the opposite direction, expecting something else to be coming there. Instead, they might get caught off guard, but ISG, they don't commit to anything just yet. They pick up that orb, and they'll be able to generate a little bit more for their only player lacking in that ultimate. They start to sneak back over towards that B site. I think this is actually a really good shout for trying to use that ult economy. This is a round where they don't necessarily win, but they can at least get something out of it by investing towards that.
Yeah, they're definitely picking up these orbs. There are only classic Sheriffs, Frenzies available, but any kill that they can get here could prove pivotal for this the next round coming, when they are going to be on these rifles. And look at that, the traps from the side of Control Esports are just sublime, able to spam through. JKG and MJT just cleaning up.
Oh, what a cleanup there. Control Esports, make sure those pistols are able to get nothing. But commiseration, as we said, Insight Gaming focusing on the ultimate economy, trying to get up as much as they can, understanding that, you know what, this is not a round we're necessarily going to win, so let's get something out of it. Now, going into their next rifle round, they have so much to work with. You were talking about those ultimates. What are we expecting to see here?
Ooh, well, we have those, like I said, Breach Ultimate, the Rolling Thunder and the Lockdown, but also if you're looking towards the side of Control, we're only one away now from the Rolling Thunder for the side of MJT, along with now JKG getting that Orbital Strike in as well, stopping any plans, or possibly using for a retake, depending whether we can get an orb onto Control, whether they're pushing and taking an aggro position anyway, but the shoulder shot through the wall, hitting the opposite breach of Insight Gaming there, but he's going for more.
There's indeed Stokesy, ready, waiting to pounce. With the rest of their team as well. Stokesy forced out into the open. That operator is going to claim it, but really well played by Lychee there as well. With a little bit of backup, they managed to finish off those 2 players, and that's a complete punish and read from Insight Gaming on how that approach was going to come. Seekers come on through. The Viper's Pit was dropped. A lot of ultimates getting invested here in Control. They are on the back foot.
Yeah, and Sid's going to have to go massive here. He's the only person for miles, putting that molly down, and, well, they can just walk through it and...
They
clean up. We've said that they've done that on the side of Control Esports on the last round, but Insight is the ones doing the cleaning, doing the, well, reconnaissance really is what they've done. They've gone towards A. They've, well, known there's an operator there. They've seen the 2 players. Nice adaptation from Control. They're getting MJT up there with that concuss, and, well, it would have been great if there was no another few players over there being able to help with that trade. Yes, they got 1, but 1 for 2 in that situation is not great, especially when then they can just pivot away since the rotates had started coming through to the side A.
Yeah, really nice from Insight to be able to basically deconstruct that play. Again, this is Control Esports map. That doesn't mean that Insight don't have experience here. They are veteran players. They know what they're looking for. They're very ready and willing to kind of look at a play and go, okay, this is this. We've done this before. Or I know teams who have done this before. Let's pick it apart like this. The Rolling Thunder ready and waiting for Jaff, trying to bring the percussion to this push right now. As you see it coming on through, we'll deal with the 1 player on site. They know exactly where they are. They're going to be able to get it. But look at that great concuss sets up, but Lychee will not let it happen. Trades 1 for 1, but Sid gets caught. And look at the aggression. Still Sid makes it happen. Brilliantly done by the Viper here, buying a lot of space and a lot of time for their teammates, as well as Stokesy not being able to make it on. That's brutal, as now those smokes are going to settle. Daki's able to provide that pressure. The shot doesn't hit, but we now know exactly where Anguist is, and I don't believe that Anguist... I can't quite see. No, does not have the spike. Yes, you're right. Thank you for pointing it out to me. So that's going to be really brutal. It's going to be very difficult for them to find that one, especially with Daki slipping into the right position.
And I don't think they're aware of the fact that Daki has slipped into main here, but it doesn't matter. Marky there, shoulder fleet from Angus is just going to get shut down. But can we just talk about Sid? Please, can we buff Breach a little bit? Like, the stuns just aren't, they're not doing enough, right? How has he managed to get away with 2 plus his life technically, because he didn't die while stunned. He died from someone dropping down from Dish, in which was traded out straight away by Daki. Lovely, great work from the delay really with those mollies. Well, with their extremely viable kills, right? Viable. They were totally skill with all those stuns, and it was really nice shots, to be fair, to be able to control it while stunned. And, well, lovely round from Control Esports. Yeah, the fundamentals are looking really good.
I was going to say the problem for me there was like a lot of those kills came out because Insight were not communicating effectively in these kind of situations. Those knives were coming out, but the spray was almost there from Sid, almost enough, but the shots from MJT just about rectify the situation, but the pressure and the aggression from ISG is more than enough to push them onto this site right now. It feels like Control were not expecting that one.
Yeah, it does feel like, obviously the information's there now with the Cypher Cam. There's only going to be 2 players towards this site. You're going to have Anguist on that killjoy rotating back over. But what I really want to take attention to is the fact that when Insight are going on like a lesser buy or going for a push, they are so huddled as like a pack.
Oh, really well played there by Daki, playing around the flash. There's just 1 left. They know exactly where it is. Oh, it's on top. Does manage to shoot out. Do they have the time? Do they have the opportunity? That boombot's not going to quite do as much as it once did. This damage is there, but it's not quite enough to finish things off. You can see they're going to be able to get the half. The peak is going to come out. He's ready for it, wants to land the shots, but the time is ticking away, and their health bar is so low. Do they have enough time? I don't think they do. They just about. No!
0.09 seconds. I only thought that you had enough time there, and well, there's no time to run away. May as well get back on it, but those shoulder peaks from Anguish, whether he lost a gunfight with the pistol or not, he's won that round for the team. And well, there we go. Timeout coming in for the side of Control Esports. They've been looking a little bit too shaky in the last couple of rounds.
But it's a little bit worrisome. I think for Control, though, you're looking at this and you're like, okay, yeah, we've been a little bit shaky. Want to rectify that somewhat. Yeah. But I'm not super worried about that. I think, sure, take the tech timeout. It's not a problem. Yeah. It's not necessarily going to ruin what's going on here. But they're 5-4 up right now on the defensive side. I think that's a pretty good situation to be in. Am I right?
Yeah, I think especially when you're looking at the comp, yeah, you're expecting a little bit more pressure from Inside Gaming on their attack. Yeah. But when you're looking at the defense, you still have Anguish, who's been playing incredibly well on the last map. Not quite coming into his own yet this half, but well, he could be a defender-sided killjoy. We've seen, well, the attacker and defense from him, and it's been sublime over the last couple of days. But what I really want to pull attention to is the way that they're playing. They're playing very much pack mentality. When you have that main pack, there's always at least 3 players going for that aggression. But when we've seen Control do it, especially that take towards Dish, you have a maximum of 2, whether it's only 1 player peeking it or you have 1 and 2 peeking off each other, which I understand that they want to spread out their defense a little bit more, but if you're taking that aggression, that is your point of contact with the enemy. That's where you're expecting the enemy to come, right? And you're only dedicating 2 players to that, especially on that eco round. You're giving them 2 free Vandals if they're able to get those kills off and upgrade it, then kill your teammates with those weapons.
Yeah, I think the thing you need to be really thinking of is Inside Gaming. They're a bit like a flash mob, pun intended, because they've obviously got those engages. Whereas you look towards Control Esports, and they're like a theatre production. They're spread out, but they're still playing around each other. I think that's something that they've done very well on their defense here, and we'll likely see from Insight as well. But it's really been great seeing how they work in sync to even go for those double peaks, as you say. But we're not seeing that this time. Instead, they're all clumped up on that B site, and I don't think Insight have a inkling.
I don't think Insight have an inkling either, since they are walking towards this with, well, majority of their players. There's only Stokesy away to that A site there, but there you go. Attack is Killjoy underneath in sewer area is going to, well, push everyone off this site. So whether it was this 5-stack towards the B bomb site, it's going to be a 5-stack towards CT for the retake.
Is indeed. Sid, unfortunately, caught off there, kind of surrendered to that one, gave him away the information. They now know that that was the only player on site. JKG looking for a chance to drop some smokes, provide their team, and we know what Daki can do with this Guardian. Let's see if they can be the Guardian of their team's hopes here. Tries to get aggressive, but Lishi is just in the right position. The Sheriff, however, we've seen what MJT can do before. Can they continue to have that performance? And the aggression is way too much. MJT is going to get caught. Might be able to spot out Jaff on this backside as they pick through the smoke. That shot gives away so much information. Stokely's position, no, the shots are there, however, and it's just MJT versus. You got to play for time. The flash comes on into Stokesy, steps onto Stite, if tries to get that spray down, hits the shot, and that's big for MJT as they pick up this round and move to 6-4.
Can we please have normal rounds? Can we have the rounds that we're expecting to go one way? But it's lovely to see the gun power really coming from both teams. You've seen an eco, well, not possibly a thrifty, but definitely lesser buys with Sheriffs, Spectres, Stingers coming in from either team. But that was, well, MJT, the Sheriff, and then being able to connect those shots, getting 2 with the Sheriff, upgrade into that Vandal, a lovely shot onto Stokesy there, onto the IGL of Insight, and picking up the half-defused bomb.
Yeah, really well played, and I mean, these Sheriffs, they just keep on popping off, and it feels like sometimes it's kind of unfair when you've got players this talented holding them. That weapon could look absolutely disgusting. Marky waiting on the other side of this, managed to take down Lishi throughout that one, taking it away at that Sky, meaning that information isn't going to quite be there in the same way. Satchel's up onto a high ground, and Ego is looking for a chance to push on in here. They're ready and waiting for that split push. There isn't going to be anyone coming from that angle. It's all piling in towards that A site from the bottom so far, but they might choose to kind of redirect themselves somewhat, as Daki is really just tearing them apart as they try to make a split push through that door.
Tearing them apart is Daki by the seams, getting those phantom sprays through that door opening, which the information is going to be there with a position in the bomb, but Ego in anguish with the Sheriffs. Marky getting sat down on the operator with the Sheriff tap from Anguish, but MJT and I believe it is Sid on the site are still going to be making sure they can't get too beaky with it now, but JKG inches away from these players. Ego's holding.
Yeah, Ego's watching for their teammate, I think, very sensibly here. I think Control, understanding the onus is not on them. The spike, yeah, it's down, but the rotate is going to be very difficult to come on in, and they can wait. They can play for the retake. Look at the agents they have available. They still have that breach. I think that's a big, important part of it. JKG can drop in now and should be able to build that support. No, MJT doesn't need that help.
MGT with some nice shots there, getting that operator back, ready to donate it over to the arms of Marky. And look at this. I said they wanted maybe a 7-5 half, and they've already at least secured that for themselves. Last round of this half now, we're going in. Stacey's getting a little bit on the lower side of the money, and same as Jaff, both going down to the minimum amount of credits they can have, possibly with harsh shields as well on Stokesy. Little to lesser buy from the side of Insight, and the operator still now in the hands of Control Esports. I really do want to see them capitalize off having this and getting that first pick that we've seen in the last couple of rounds.
I want to highlight the Astra Star that you can see placed there around the players getting aggressive at the top. That's because of the aggression that we saw before. So that's the important thing, is often you can condition your opponents to use that utility, and that's been a big boon for Control Esports, because that means there's less coming their way when the actual site push or the post-plant situation comes. Now, the smoke goes in, the Sky Smoke's breaking off a lot of that. They have a lot of utility to use for that, do Control Esports, and they have 3 ultimates available themselves, the same as the other side. I think this Cosmic Divide is going to be something to keep an eye on coming into this round, as Stokesy is ready and waiting for that rotate to come on in. There isn't, and they know. Actually, they're completely aware. Look at the aggression from Marky here, and they don't, well, they find Stokesy, but that's it, and now they know that they need to head straight back towards that site. You can see as well, the first point of contact going to be there. Daki wants to try and make sure they can try and deny something, but instead they're going to have to see these players push on through that Rolling Thunder, gives a little bit of space. Daki manages to get into cover, even with all those concussions and everything else coming their way. Anguist setting up for their post plant now.
And look at this, you have, well, a 3-pronged retake from this team. MJT on that operator, swapping with Marky to make sure his duelist is going to be fast entry, and as Sid, the timing onto Jaff, and look at that, it's a 5v2. It is looking so dire, but Ego has something to say about it.
Yeah, they now know where this player is. The smoke's going to go on, and there's so little you can do. Position completely given away by the neural theft. The molly forces them forward. They're going to move into the smoke, and unfortunately get taken down by Daki. I want to just point out how good that was. So Control Esports, they had the push come out from every single angle, and that's why Jaff jumped down there. Jaff went like, oh, they're pushing these two. They must not be pushing this one. They wouldn't invest one player towards it. They were wrong. Sid was waiting, and it just made that round so much easier to do. Rather than having to deal with those 2 players in backside, they were able to completely cordon them off and deny the aggressive push into main.
That's what I really liked. Yes, they left B-side completely alone, other than some sort of Cypher utility, which is quite a good read, since they tend not to pressure B unless it's straight away at the start of the round or right at the end. They tend to keep their mid-round over towards the A site along with up into dish. So once they're able to use that Star and the showstopper as well in A main, they had so much space to be able to capitalize off it. They doubled up down the main flag, which was probably the most obvious one in which someone would be holding it. They had the buddy system there. But yeah, the 3-pronged retake coming in really nice.
Oh, good headshots here for Stokesy, trying to step up, but they do lose a little bit more than they really wanted to, so aggression for Control Esports works out early on here. Now, I think we were talking about the retakes. I just want to quickly highlight this for Insight Gaming. They have a lot of great tools for retakes, because they have a lot of great tools for attack, and that could be really impactful on this map. Turns away from it, JKG wants to try and land the shots, but goes low. The backup from their teammates is big, but the shots are being landed by their teammates rather than themselves. Ego taps away, gets a 3K. Will we see a repeat? There's so little health left. Wants to catch it, but just barely doesn't. Ego knows they're sticking around. That spike isn't down just yet and is repositioning very sensibly here.
And it is a Ghost versus a Classic. I don't even think a dink from the Classic to Ego.
He's gone.
He knows. There you go. And look at that. Lovely taps from Ego and closing it out with that kill onto JKG. Bringing Insight a little bit back into this. I think if Control Esports won that pistol, it'd be looking a lot more dire for them, especially to get back into the economy, back into these rifle rounds, put in Control on the back foot for this half, which they have done so far now. We've got them onto this eco, some Sheriff buys in there, but we'd like to say that Control Esports is quite an attacker-sided team. They look so comfortable when we see them going towards these attacks. So let's see what they have in store for an eco round on attack.
It'll be interesting to see, because last time they picked it up, and that was a big problem for Insight. They wanted to get that ball rolling, but they were stopped before they could really get past the start sign. So didn't even make it to the checkered flag, obviously, in that half. Had a pretty dire start. But this one, looking a lot more positive, picking up this pistol round again. Let's see if they can lock it out rather than fall at this hurdle. MJT going to move out into the open here and potentially going to be a problem for Anguist if they start to go on up those ladders. But, sorry, well, ropes rather than ladders. But concussion as well is going to give a lot of information over. They're waiting for everyone to be in the right position before they commit towards something. Control, no. But that from Anguist was so big. Doesn't get hit by the concuss as well. That's huge. A lot of utility spent. It doesn't really amount to anything. Tries to spray away with the Bulldog, but doesn't get a thing. And that's a couple of upgrades with those 2 players dead. Sure, they die to the Nanoswarm, but that's fine.
They flooded on site then. Yes, off that contact there, they knew it. And, well, with the stun and the nade is going to push them back onto site. But look at this. Kills through smokes is just going to be, well, what we're known for the side of Insight. But the util coming out now, clearing some certain angles off for these players. The peak from Marky there, 12 HP, is still able to pick one up for himself. The satchel there and the grenade, the paint shells, well, securing him his life with a wraparound now from these few players. Sid is there with the Bulldog Ego. Can he do it again? Is this the second time in a row he can clutch a 1v3 for his team? 4 bullets in the mag. And, well, no one's peeking him. No one's giving even an inch yet alone because he will take the mile.
Oh,
and there you go. You get the intro marky. But it doesn't matter. The time is gone. Bulldog picked up for MJT. And do you know what? I'm just going to expect... We say Control Esports have been very good as a pistol team, but I think they're just going to start giving pistols. And just like, do you know what? I think the game plan, you will give them the pistol, we'll win the second round, ruin the mental. And ruin the economy for the next few rounds. Because look at Inside Gaming. Yes, they have some players forcing up on this Vandal, but some of the... It's looking really dire. Like, they haven't got any sort of general economy over the boards.
Well, I'm surprised. Maybe this rifle is getting handed over by Ego. I think that would make a lot of sense because obviously they can get the knives and we've seen what they can do with it. They might be trying to play for that orb, but I don't know where they're going to be able to do that. Looking on the map, what they're going for, but that concuss right there from MJT, I think, is really good understanding. They read the map, they read the leaderboard, saw how much ult charge they had, and really wanted to deny it away. They probably don't know that there's a couple of rifles in hand for Insight here, but I think playing very sensibly, very slow, in contrast to some of the other rounds we've seen from them.
Yeah, they're aware of that, at least one of them being saved over from the previous round that we just saw, since they are kind of an aggressive team that likes to buy up these rifles, wasn't able to clutch it out there, but Control Esports definitely on the upper foot here, but JKG getting that first pick, literally trading it out though. That's your duelist off the board, but paint shells and beam but we're already expending that round, so you're just losing a gun at that point. Not too much util wasted from the side of Control versus the breach on Inside Gaming.
Indeed. Lychee with that Bulldog is a force to be reckoned with. That turret is going to give away a lot. They get a little bit of damage, but they start to back on up. Lychee again manages to deliver, tries to get that spray, but the wall doesn't matter to them. JKG and Daki get 2 good frags and get access to this site. Now they can really start to solidify their position. Look at who's remaining. It's the controllers and obviously also that Sentinel. So this is a great position for them. The only problem that could arise is the fact that Stokesy is still alive on this agent, especially with the Frenzy, could be a real problem for them in these close quarters duels. But taps on the defuse, will try and bet away, that bite goes through. Are they sticking towards this? No, okay, they step off. They can't manage to try and get that half, but with Sid down, it's not necessarily a problem. The Hellfire, I mean, it comes down and Stokesy is erased from the map. Very slow, very patient play here. Ego tries to sit towards it, but the molly is there, and JKG doesn't even need it. Hits a 4K in that round.
Honestly, JKG really showing up, and look at that. They've hit 10 digits. This is similar to like a scoreline you'd see Inside Gaming in the group stages versus some of the other teams like Gaming XD and all those others, but really Control Esports coming. They've lost against this team before, 12-14 in the group stage, and they've gone away. They've had a few drinks last night, had a sleep on it, and you know what? They came out and hit the ground running on Insight's map pick, and now they're really showing why Fracture is their playground on this attack has been beautiful.
You know, especially with how things started with all that tech pause and the issues and everything, I was a little bit apprehensive. I was going, oh no, this thing's going to go wrong for Control. No, they step up to the plate, manage to deliver here, and even if they don't win this is still a strong performance. Stokesy taken out. That's a bit of a problem. No longer have access to those controllers. And with Anguist gone as well, it just seems like things are falling apart. At least they get a couple of frags back, but it seems like it's going to be, well, information for Daki, and that means they can completely inform themselves when they push. That A site is going to be cracked wide open. You can see the rotates coming on in as well as Control. They drop a player onto the B site. Maybe they could just rotate back towards this. Nope, they go for the plant here for going to go towards it? Okay, that's going to be a backstab. I was just trying to confirm.
Yeah.
The map is quite small. I'm trying to like read it with my.
Yeah, MJT is coming on that flank, but he doesn't have to do anything. That's the importance that they need to be aware of here, but it doesn't matter. Look at those shots. Very crisp and clean, and it does seem that Control Esports are coming into their own on this map. Any of the teams watching that, they're going to be playing next needs to be aware. This team are not to be trifled with. They're standing up to their own. This is the favorites of this tournament. This is the people that you'd thought, well, undefeated throughout groups, only Control being able to take more than 5 or 6 rounds off them, pushing them to their utter limits. And, well, Control have gone above and beyond. Just Insight now on that back foot, over 6 rounds down now, and they're going into this with a very forced up bye with some Bulldogs.
Well, indeed. Marky going to be that first point of contact as well, using that satchel to get up on high. Oh, gets caught by Ego there, unfortunately. That would have been very spicy. But again, even without Marky, Control Esports have players who are aggressive, can take advantages and really push them to their limit here. Jaff backs off, I think very sensibly, plays around their flashes, plays around the utility, plays around the fact that 2 players from their team are coming to back them up here. With Ego on site, you can be pretty comfortable at this one. The backstab's going to come on in. They're forced into the waiting arms of these players. Stokesy takes him down, and it looks like a brief redoubt here for Insight Gaming as maybe they can find their footing.
Yeah, it looks like they're starting their redemption arc of the last few rounds on this attack, stringing together the second round. And look at that, an instant tack timeout coming in from the side of Control Esports. This is now the last one that they're going to have throughout Fracture. We won't see another one from them until possibly a 3rd map, or if they can close it out here and now. We won't have to, but if you were, well, the coach or the IGL of Control, what would you be saying to them now? What do they need to do? Yes, they're in the lead, but obviously they want to close it out now. But what do you think's going on through their head right now?
I think they're looking at it and like, all right, let's take this moment, take a breather. We lost that last round. That's okay. We just need to close out. No messing around, no getting caught out. Make sure we do this cleanly, because that was an issue in the last map and on Pearl as well. A couple of slip-ups can cost them the game. Sure, they're 5 rounds ahead now, but you might not be saying that in 10 minutes. That's the problem. They need to be sure, because Insight are a force to be reckoned with. Yeah,
we've seen why they're a force to be reckoned with. Ego really stepping up for his team. Currently 20-12, almost boasting a 2KD. But it's not just about that, right? We've seen great utility usage coming from Control Esports, and it really feels like Insight in that last round played their own game, which is what I want to see more from them. But Control, they've been playing their own game for the last couple of rounds, and it's been working, so they need to stick to their own game, their own pace, and not take anything too rushed. Against, especially a team like Insight Gaming, they're going to be right there on any sort of loophole that you leave in your attack.
Stick to your guns, do what you know. It's been working so far, and this is your map. I think Control Esports have got the winning recipe.
With the camera.
They are
and look at that, the crunch from Marky. By the way of the 2 other players pushing RK, they've got to be. The Rolling Thunder coming now through, and the crunch for the players. Daki picking up one for himself. It's only the Sky left to defend this site, getting run down by the players left on Control.
Oh, Lishi completely separated here. Doesn't actually manage to get caught out because there's a little bit back up until MJT comes in, and Anguist is stepping up. This is the kind of clutch that they desperately need. Insight relying on the supreme skill of their players. Anguist beginning to step up, doesn't have much in the way of utility, finally has access to their drones again. Will they be able to do something with it here, especially into this smoke, into the pit, into everything else that's coming their way? Anguist denied. Can Jaff do it again? Another player I'd love to highlight, but that vulnerable, that Viper's Bite means that is such a problem for the match point now for Control Esports, and it looks so dominant.
And it's not even just match point, it is series point for Control Esports. Their second best of 3 so far in this upper bracket, taking the first one 2-0 against John Howard last night, and now they're looking to make an absolute upset. We've already seen an upset in the first map going to 14-12 against Insight, and now look at this scoreline. This is looking so dominant from them, and to close this out in a 2-0 fashion, yes, it's only going to send Insight into the lower bracket, in which they should have a good run towards. I'm expecting to see them in the lowest finals, possibly even back up on stage for the grand finals. But Control Esports, if they can close it out now, it really sets a precedent for their future matches. It's the confidence boost that these players are going to get, especially after that defeating loss last night.
Yeah. Insight Gaming right now. It will be a bit brutal for them, but it means they'll have a lot to learn, and I think that's really important. Jaff, well, gets that first strike and really steps up to the plate. Again, this is a player a lot of respect for. The Seekers do mean that Marky is going to get absolutely peppered through that one there, but does manage to survive, do some backup from the rest of the time. The Rolling Thunder comes on in. Can Marky survive this? JKG steps out, but it is 1 versus 3. JKG has a lot of time, a lot of opportunity, deals with one, steps up. Jaff expecting the drop, gets the spray, does Lychee, and that's again a round for Insight Gaming, and we've seen how this starts.
We've seen how it starts, but it does seem every time while Insight have gone on a round in this half, it's just been answered straight back, and the breathing room control Esports have is astronomical. They have so many chances to close this out. They don't have to rush it. They are on a bit of a full spy here, but it can turn into a slippery slope if Insight are able to close it out when these 4 spies are coming through, because they have the money. The only issue that they're lacking on is a little bit of shields. But if it keeps going on, it could turn into a few ecos, and then that is a slippery slope for rounds getting chained together for Insight and making this back into a competitive round-by-round game, possibly even another OT.
They really don't want to lose control. I didn't mean to say that. I was thinking of different words to say. Don't want to lose their grasp on this game. They really don't want to let it slip, because Insight will punish them for it. We've said it again and again and again. This is their map. Controller in the lead, but they're in the driving seat. But there's someone right behind them, constantly waiting to overtake them.
Well, it is almost Formula 1 Sunday tomorrow, and well, it does seem like both these teams are neck and neck. Even though it is 3rd seed versus 1st, it does seem like there's not much in it within these teams at Epic LAN this time. Epic LAN 38. Marky! Marky and MJT so low with the sprays and the mollies coming in from the side of Insight. It really is not great at the moment. The HP difference is going to be astronomical. One molly or even the breach shooter can put both of these players down on their count.
Yeah, really good call here as well from Insight. They made these rotates almost instantaneously. Again, shout out to Stokesy. Really nice calls on where the pressure is going to come on in here. Look at that spike going down. That's great. That's fantastic. But this backstab is where it's all really going to happen. Sid tries desperately to make it work. And JKG and Daki do hold strong, but not strong enough to deal with Anquist and the gang. Insight, they take another round, another step, and you can feel them breathing down the back of your neck, can't you, Control Esports?
Yeah, absolutely. It's only now 4 rounds difference. And well, if anyone can do it, I believe it is Insight, even if it is up against, well, the kind of turn of tides. The Control have become the Titans in this match. They've been dictating majority of the pace, which they have not had any sort of grasp or control on it since we're going for those puns a day. But yes, they're going into this eco. I really want them to either hard save this in regards to they have to definitely make sure they have that money available next round, even if it does mean going half armor classic. But the ult economy for Insight is so much more healthy than that of Control Esports. You have that orbital strike, sure, but really need to play for this orb control. There's 4 orbs on the map. You have this 1 round now. You're not really playing for the win here. You're trying to get as many picks. Well, if you can get it for the win, go for it. But it's more of make sure you have everything set up for the future rounds, because you have 4 chances.
Oh, I think this nade is interesting here from Marky. Gives away their position. They now know that the player's there. Sure, they'd smoked it off, but could have played slightly slower. Sid tries to get aggressive, but that's it. They managed to trade out. Stokesy, however, holds the 4, and with Lychee's backup, they managed to mitigate the offense there. Don't go towards the orbs. Daki doesn't manage to pick that one up. Not too much of a problem. They had full ult anyway, and Stokesy cleans up the round. 1 round off of those double digits, but it's another rifle round coming up here for Control Esports.
Okay, I really like the util that they're expanding towards, especially even when on these ecos, but it could be done for a rifle round possibly. It's the way they're able to isolate Anguist on site with those smokes and util the paint swarms from the paint shells, from Marky, also the stun from MJT. But it's more the fact that because of that economic state of them, Insight rotated a lot quicker, which then meant Stokesy was there ready to shoot them in the back while they were swarming Amris on site.
Yeah, I mean, they were just ready and willing to try and force, even at the cost of blood, to make that happen. And when you're on Nico buy as well, that's definitely worth doing and definitely something you're going to have to do. Bunch of players heading on in here. Lychee is going to spot absolutely, well, at least one of them. But that probably belies that there are more, and you already see Stokesy kind of looking, okay, do we rotate here? Marky gets up to high ground, already setting up the space for their team. 2 players up on the right here, up on the north side of this site. But they're all backing off, and they managed to get that site with little to no impact. They've got access to the orbital strike. They've got a lot of tools to make this post-plant work. But Insight Gaming, note, they have that Cosmic Divide, and it's going to be impactful here. Ego kicks things off with that first frag, and the shots just keep on landing.
Ego through the smoke, it does seem like that is his specialty. The tap on the bomb going through, orbital strike getting expended, but the lockdown is still there. It's keeping JKG out of the fight from helping his teammates, and looking at the swarm from the players in main is going to put him down on his luck for that round. Orbital strike expended, double digits hit. It's just looking closer and closer to another OT game for us.
Yeah, I think the problem is when you're looking down this avenue trying to hold it, especially when there's an Astra and so much more coming your way, especially that lockdown, so you can't stick on site. It makes it so hard to control if you don't already have that player advantage.
So hard.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would not want to be in either of those positions, because it is basically do or die for these teams right now inside of Insight. Control wants to close it out in regulation. They definitely don't want to be playing any extra rounds in OT, since we've seen, well, technically we're 1-1 so far of the maps that we've seen each other play against, including the group game. But they're going to be a little bit more comfortable than Insight. They are 1 map up so far in this series. They can expend a little bit of leeway to Insight. They have that backup of the round, but
oh my lord. I mean, this is into kind of more pistol-y, like, you know, force buys here, but it's still very impressive. MGT manages to get one. JKG can bait on that spike plant, trying to get Stokesy to force forward into something here, but very sensibly doesn't fall for it, doesn't chomp at the bit, and instead will wait, bide their time, look for an opportunity here. The spray with the Spectre is good position, completely known, and instead they will get swamped. Couple of good frags, but that Insight Gaming bank is not going to be too affected by this.
It shouldn't be, and now they're only 1 round way of securing this OT. Yes, Control Esports was on a save round there. They only had some sheriffs, lovely shots from some of them there as well, but they weren't too expensive with their utility. They didn't expend too many ultimates like this Rolling Thunder. I was a bit worried that they were going to ult towards CT in that situation and not get anything fruitful off it. Yes, it would have been great to push them back, maybe delay some time, but still, only sheriffs in the hand of the majority of players. This is do or die. You're 2 ults away now from Marky, instead 1 point respectfully. And Insight Gaming, it seems like they've been putting their all into the last few rounds. Now getting the operator up on Ego, it's going to be interesting to see if Ego can make up for the lack of ults on the side of Insight Gaming here, especially when the ults that Control Esports are coming into this with can be very fruitful.
Can indeed, super effective, and you're going to be able to break away so much of this. Stokesy ready, gets that pull in, that rocket not quite able to land how they want to. The shot goes in, doesn't let East manage to trade 1 for 1. That's Anguis gone, a key player in locking down some of these sites. They will lose Marky for it, but that's not the be-all end-all. Sid will be able to get this spike down. No one's really contesting. Ego looking for a chance to get aggressive here, wants to use that dash effectively. Manages to push on into it. The spray through the smoke is almost there, but JKG is taken down. Sid, however, yet again plays spoiler, but that Viper's Pit is going to go down. It's all going to get wiped. And look at Daki. Daki's moving into position, is on the flank. They don't know. Has this rifle out. Will be able to get a kill, and that is it. 13-11.
He turns his back right at the wrong moment. Like you said, it is that 13-11. It is a 2-0. What?
Man, oh man. Control Esports managed to fell the mighty titans of Insight Gaming here. Such an impressive performance, and you can see Lychee, well, you can't see, but we can see Lychee and Ego sitting at the top of that leaderboard. Really impressive performance from both of them. But as a whole, Control Esports seemed to have it on lock. It looked like it was slipping away from there for a second, but I didn't doubt them. They had Fracture, they had their map, and they had the series, as you said, 2-0.
And look at that, it sets a precedent. Control Esports are the first team to yet alone push Insight past that 5-6 round mark in groups to that 14-12 loss in overtime, but they're the first team to take a map from Insight, from the favourites to win, securing them a place in the next round of the upper bracket. I believe it's only 2 more games to secure for Control, at least to secure themselves into the grand finals if they are able to complete their winning streak in this upper bracket. It's currently 2-0-2-0 for them.
Yeah, really impressive performance, and I mean, that's what now we're expecting from Control Esports. really, really demonstrating quite how much they're able to do. And it's actually really amusing we found ourselves in this position because they had a shaky group stage. We weren't so sure with their loss to Swans. Things weren't looking so great for them. We thought coming into that match at the end of the day that they might not be able to put up a performance against Insight Gaming, but here we are. The fact that they got third in their group means they play Insight again this early, and it means they were able to take them to the cleaners this early.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about especially yesterday when we were watching the last game of groups, we talked about the fact that Control lost to Swans, a team Insight previously 13-1 right at the start of the group stage. Sorry to any of the Swans fans, not to put that out there too much, but it's the fact that we weren't expecting that sort of pushback from Control at the start. And yes, it went into OT. Yes, they did lose, but yeah, it's only groups, right? It's not too much pressure for them, but when it counts, they've definitely stepped up, especially Marky and MJT, especially in that last game. They're lovely shadow shots and lovely entries from those two players. And, well, that's it for us right now. We are going to be going to a break until the next game, and I believe it will be Cairo and Hazza with you next. And hopefully we'll see you later in the day for more amazing Valorant. I have been Wintario, and with me has been Rook, my favorite duo for this EPIC38 powered by Imcell. I'll see you later.